There's not like this massive, big, complete story to talk about right now. And maybe, as someone in the live group said, it's because the government's shut down and there's less bad things happening right now. The government's still shut down. It's been like, day 6 or 7 right now. I don't know. Everything still seems to be fine. It's not this massive story. I haven't seen like just the videos of kids trying to get into a park that's locked or something like that, like we used to see. The world's just kind of moving on right now. And I think that should be a lesson for everyone, that everything's fine. No one's freaking out. It's totally okay. There's no reason to open this thing. That's all I'm saying. I think we're doing it right now. Let's just keep this going. Someone on YouTube, I believe, left a comment when I put out a clip last week of me of us saying that it's ridiculous that we have so many non-essential people in the government. Like our paychecks are being forcibly taxed under threat of imprisonment, and like we have a harder time paying for our bills and everything in life because they're taking this percentage repeatedly out of the money that we work for to earn and use for our families and our lives. And they're using that to pay people that they don't even say are essential. And someone's arguing, well, just because they're not essential doesn't mean that they're not important to the functions of the government. And I worked at this department right here, and we were doing data analysis. And I'm like, no, that is not essential. That is not important. We're not doing it right now. That's fine. In fact, that is something that the government should not be doing. And that is the point. Only, and I mean just only, and I hate even saying this, but like the 15% of people that they're deeming essential right now, fire everyone else. Do it. It'd be one of the greatest things that any U.S. president has ever done in the history of U.S. presidents. That's just my 2 cents on the matter. So the big news story kind of breaking yesterday and today is that the FBI has released that Biden's FBI, Jack Smith, during this investigation of Trump's stolen election scheme and all of that, was actually spying on, I believe, 8 Republican Congress members. And then, so that's weird. And now I do have to clarify just real quick that regardless of where you come down on it, I'm not a big fan of FBI spying, although some of the people that they spied on are a big fan of the government spying on people, just not when it's them. That's one thing I have an issue with right now. They did go through like a grand jury to go and get the warrants to do the spying. And even though we disagree and we think it was political in nature and all of that, this was not like a FISA secret court warrant type of thing. They at least went through the proper channels. Now, the issue here is that some of the basis for why they spied on these people was something as simple as objecting to the certification of electors after the 2020 election. We'll get into why that's done. But let's listen to Chuck Grassley and a couple other people announcing this and some of the things they have to say on it.
Of these telephone records, which I think emphasizes the political weaponization that was behind all this effort. And we're still getting more information, but we've released some records today, and I'll let Senator Johnson take over from here, and then each one of you colleagues can join in when you want to, whatever you want to say.
First of all, I want to thank Senator Grassley. It is because of his relentless advocacy for whistleblowers that a lot of this information is surfacing right now. We wouldn't know about the list of 100 Republican entities that were targeted by Jack Smith's Arctic Frost investigation. I don't think we know about this as well. So we need whistleblowers. I think Dan Bongino and other folks at the FBI, they don't know where all the records are hidden. They still don't. They're not necessarily getting 100% cooperation. But this is outrageous, what has happened. I just want to give you a timeline of this. I think you've already got the FBI sheet that shows the number of members of Congress that were targeted. Representative Kelly, Senators Graham, Haggerty, Hawley, Sullivan, Tuberville, myself, Senator Lummis, and Blackburn. This memo was dated September of 2023. To put it all into context, the Mar-a-Lago raid occurred in August of 2022. Jack Smith announced the indictments against President Trump in August of 2023. So this is almost 2 months later. They're casting this net, this fishing expedition against members of the Senate and the House. Again, I've been investigating this with Senator Grassley. This doesn't surprise me, but it should shock every American of what the Biden administration has done. And by the way, this is the first time I was targeted by the FBI. Under the Obama administration, the same thing happened to both Senator Grassley and I. As part of the Foreign Influence Task Force, we were giving a briefing to try and convince us that the Hunter Biden laptop was no big deal. Basically, trying to throw us off the track. So this is major corruption that's being revealed inside the Obama and Biden Department of Justice, the FBI. And I'll turn it over to, I guess, Senator Hagerty, who's one of the individuals. Again, none of us were subject or targets of this investigation. There's no.
All right, so he says America should be shocked, and just to be clear, like this is seems to be weaponization of the FBI, of the DOJ. As I said earlier, some of these people, as far as public knowledge, it was simply because they objected to the certification of electors. Like at least it seems like for half of them, that was like the reasoning. Like if they stood up and said, I object to the certification of the electors from Arizona, or I object to the certification of these electors from Pennsylvania, then they were swept up in this FBI dragnet to try and make this case against Trump that they were trying to conspire to steal the election and commit treason and all these different types of things. And yeah, that's ridiculous. And I'll play a video here in a second of Democrats objecting to the certification of electors after Trump won his first election. I like spare me the whole shock thing. I do have to say that though. I find it fairly hypocritical that I'm just supposed to be shocked and appalled when some of these same people and this same body of Congress members will continuously vote to reauthorize warrantless spying that ends up collecting all of Americans' data, that they'll support that. Of course, that's for national security. It's a really, really big deal when they actually do it for the members of the government, because then that's weaponization, political weaponization of the DOJ. And so we should all be shocked and appalled by that while they're reading all of our text and phone history and everything, and our emails and everything, any time that they want to. I'm just, like I care about this and I don't want them to do it, it's for political reasons. I don't think that that's a good way for our country to survive into the future. But at the same time, I'm left wondering, like, what are you guys going to do about it? As soon as the government reopens, are you going to be voting to take away some of the FBI's surveillance powers? Or are you going to be voting to create more transparency? Like, these people should have been notified after this investigation or after the information was collected that their information was just collected. Something like, are you going to be doing any of those kinds of votes? Or is what we're going to do, unfortunately, we're going to go after the people that we say misused these powers of the government, and we're going to bring some kind of charges against them, probably for something else, by the way. But we're going to bring some kind of charges against them. We're not actually going to charge them for the thing that we're saying they did was really wrong. And then everyone's going to be happy after that, because maybe they'll get to see someone get arrested. It's highly unlikely anyone's actually going to go to prison, but maybe we'll get to see someone get arrested, and then I'll be fine. Guys, none of this stuff has really been bothering me lately. None of this stuff matters that's happening in the Trump administration right now. None of it matters if they don't actually make reforms to these agencies or just all out abolish some of these agencies. And I get it. That's not going to happen. I get it. They could try and do some reforms. They could try and take away some of the powers that the government has if they wanted to do that. You can't just rely on someone that you agree with being in office. So your perfect, virtuous angel will not misuse the powers of the government. Someday there will be someone that you don't like in that office, and they are still going to have these powers. And from what I can tell, Trump has been expanding the powers of the executive branch. And someday they will be used by other parties. Someday they will be used by other political parties. And that's just not a good thing. Like, none of this stuff matters. Oh, that's cool to see. Maybe there's charges brought against this person or that person. Just nothing changes if they don't actually change the government itself. The actual powers they have, the stuff that they have, their codes, their rules, their laws, any of those things, nothing changes. We just have like a cool 4 years where we get to talk about, oh, that's awesome, they brought charges against that person. Just ain't going to work. Thomas Massey kind of made a little bit of the same point. He said that this is insane. What's more insane, the Republican-controlled House and Senate and White House won't cut anyone's budget who did this. Also, no one will be fired. I think some people actually already did get fired, so maybe he's wrong on that. He said, literally, we should fire everyone involved and dissolve the branch of the FBI that did this, but in reality, we won't even deprive them of one toner cartridge. In fact, probably their budget's going to go up, because if they would have had a better budget, they would have had better oversight over what people in their agency were doing. And the way to stop them from doing this in the future is actually to give them more money. And that's actually the world that we sort of live in. That's the way that it's going to go. Let me go to this video because I do think it's relevant. Like I said, some of these people from the publicly available information, as far as the reason, like, they brought in front of a grand jury for why they would be able to collect information from these Congress members, just had to do with them objecting to the certification of electors. And so I think it's as good a time as any to play. This is Trump's lawyer here, but he's going to play a montage of Democrats objecting to the certification of electors after the 2016 election. So let's listen to that for fun.
Raskin objected to the certification of President Trump's victory 4 years ago, along with many of his colleagues. You'll remember it was Joe Biden who had to gavel them down.
I have an objection because 10 of the 29 electoral votes cast by Florida were cast by electors not lawfully certified.
I object to the votes from the state of Wisconsin, which should not be legally certified.
Mr. President, I object to the certificate from the state of Georgia on the grounds that the electoral votes were not...
There's no debate.
And I object to the certificate from the state of North Carolina.
I object to the 15 votes from the state of North Carolina. I object.
I object to the certificate from the state of Alabama. The electors were not lawfully certified.
Is it signed by a senator?
Not as of yet, Mr. President.
In that case, the objection cannot be entertained. The objection cannot be entertained.
Counting
Debate is not in order.
Ballot. Even with the
There is
malfunction,
no debate in order. Is it signed by a senator? There is no debate. There is no debate in the joint session. There is no debate. There is no debate.
16
There is
to 1.
no debate.
And the mass
Please come to order. The objection cannot be received.
But the Russian
Section 18, Title 3 of the United States Code prohibits debate in the joint session.
I do not wish to debate. I wish to ask, is there one United States senator who will join me in this letter
There
of
is no debate. There is no debate.
Okay, not that long ago. It's in January of 2017. Now the question would be, like, did fascist Trump, who weaponizes the DOJ against his political opponents, come in and sweep up those people's cell phone records to see if they conspired with the presidential candidate or with anyone else to stand up there and make those objections? No, I don't think so. Maybe that just wasn't. Maybe that wasn't shown to us. Maybe he did do that, but I don't think he did. Could be wrong. And so that's, it's a pretty good example of him not taking retaliation against those people. Could have just been happy he won the election, So anyhow, we're going to see where the story goes. They're going after Jack Smith for something else right now. It's potential they can go after him for this, because if all they used was those senators or House members or whoever standing up and saying that they objected to certification, or getting up on the floor and talking about the election being stolen or something like that, They are protected by something called the speech and debate clause. They can get up on the House floor, on the Senate floor, and they can say anything they want. They could do anything. Okay. And so then taking that and using that to go and get warrants against them to collect their information, spy on them, and all that could be a violation of that. And so we'll look into it. We'll see if he actually goes along. See if they actually go through with charging Jack Smith for some of this stuff. I'm not sure. Okay, next subject. Let's see here. This is one I was going to talk about yesterday. I thought it was interesting. The Supreme Court rejected Ghislaine Maxwell's appeal of her criminal conviction. This just came out, I believe, yesterday. Or updated yesterday. Yeah. Supreme Court on Monday rejected Ghislaine Maxwell's challenge to her criminal conviction for recruiting and grooming teenage girls for sexual abuse by Jeffrey Epstein. The decision means that Maxwell's conviction on 3 counts and her 20-year criminal sentence remains in place. The case was one in the list of dozens of appeals that piled up in recent months that the justices rejected as they started a new 9-month court term. By the way, I think it's going to be a very interesting Supreme Court term. I do believe we're going to have a lot of SCOTUS stuff to talk about coming up here soon. Maxwell lawyer David Oscar Marcus argued in court papers that an agreement Epstein made with then U.S. Attorney in the Southern District of Florida, Alex Acosta, made that agreement not to prosecute him or potential co-conspirators, that should apply to one of the 3 counts in her case, which was prosecuted in New York. And they are disappointed. Now, because of this, Trump was asked if he was going to consider a pardon for Ghislaine Maxwell. Now, Trump knows Ghislaine Maxwell. He knows why she's in prison. He knows that they've already gone and talked to her. They moved her to a nice, cushy prison in exchange for her answering some questions, as far as I can tell. He, I believe, wished her well at one point in time. I keep hearing people bring that up. I don't have the clip of it or anything. So, like, he knows who she is. He knows why she's in prison. Okay? To me, in my opinion, it should be a very easy answer. Are you going to pardon Ghislaine Maxwell? No. How about just no? How about we just say no when someone asks if you're going to pardon Ghislaine Maxwell? It's just not a good look when we're talking about the full release of the Epstein files. And by the way, it happened to coincide with the government shutdown, that the 218th vote for Thomas Massey's discharge petition has been held off because we're still waiting for a swearing in of the 218th signature on that. I'm just saying that's a crazy coincidence, but it is in fact a coincidence. It has nothing to do with any of the stuff with the government shutdown. It's just a coincidence. I'm just saying it's a crazy one. So it's not a good look to be like, oh, I'll take a look at it. We'll take a look at it. Can we just say no? Here's him answering that question.
Its term today, Mr. President.
Say it.
The Supreme Court is back and said that they rejected today an appeal by Ghislaine Maxwell to overturn her conviction. That means her only chance of getting out of prison is a pardon from you. Is that something you're...
Who are we talking about?
Ghislaine Maxwell.
I haven't heard the name in so long. I can say this, that I'd have to take a look at it. I would have to take a look. Did they reject that?
She wanted to appeal her conviction.
And what happened?
They said that they were not going to hear her appeal.
I see. Well, I'll take a look at it. I will speak to the DOJ. I wouldn't consider it or not consider it. I don't know anything about it. So, but I'll speak. I will speak to the DOJ.
Why would she be a candidate for clemency, sir?
I don't know. I mean, I'd have to speak to the DOJ. I'll look at it. I have a lot of people who have asked me for pardons. I call him Puff Daddy has asked me for a pardon.
But she was convicted of child sex trafficking.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to take a look at it. I'd have to ask DOJ. I didn't know they rejected it. I didn't know she was even asking for it, frankly.
Yeah, I mean, he's in the Epstein files. Like, that's, Now, I still hold that I don't believe that he's in the Epstein files, as doing, Epstein files stuff, I believe his name probably appears in those files way more times than what was assumed by many of his supporters, probably. But yeah, he's in there. I haven't been able to fully figure out the whole Epstein thing. And to me, maybe the easiest answer is there's a lot of really powerful people in there. And maybe some of them are his friends. Maybe that's the reason. Could be that they're his friends. Or, as I've seen brought up before, it's also valuable information. It's also valuable leverage and blackmail to have over those people. Maybe sometimes some of these big deals he gets from some of these businesses or whoever else he's making deals with, maybe sometimes that's the reason, and we're just not going to know the reason, Something weird is still going on here, and I hope it doesn't die down. And my hope with this is, like most people, I believe, can agree that it would be a terrible idea for him to do this. Just like politically, personally, morally, all the ways that it would be terrible to do a thing are those things. And so I think we can agree on that. And I think we can agree, even if you're listening and you're a Trump supporter, that you don't want him to do that, right? And so if you don't want to do that, you speak up and say that you don't want him to do it. And if you don't want him to do it, there's probably a reason why. And if he does do it, you should also have the intestinal fortitude to stand up afterwards and say that this was a bad thing to do and that you disagree with it and that you were upset about it. But unfortunately, sometimes, even if they say that they'll disagree something Trump might do and then he does it and they're like, oh, well, 5D chess, art of the deal, stuff like that. You just can't talk bad about the guy. And I've been thinking a lot about this over the last few days because the news has been so freaking confusing. I feel like I can't trust anything that anyone is saying anywhere, and it's been very difficult to wade through everything. And I'm like, I'm just not gonna. I can't hold back on this guy. Like I'm not. I know I voted for him, but I'm not gonna not state my disagreements and things that he does wrong. I'm just not going to. And no one listening right now should do that either. Laura Loomer posted about this. She is very much against him pardoning Ghislaine Maxwell. But she does this thing, and I've seen her do this thing many times in the past, where it's not really Trump that's considering pardoning Maxwell. It's someone else behind him that's pulling strings. It's someone else behind him that he's listening to because he trusts them on something. And so it's not really him that could be doing the bad thing, even though he's known her for a really long time. It's always someone else. So she says, I strongly advise against anyone lobbying the Trump admin and the DOJ to pardon Ghislaine Maxwell. Do not do it. Do not do it. I repeat, do not do it. There will be no coming back from that. I repeat again, for the love of God, do not do it. It's like, what if Trump is considering doing it? Like Trump himself, can he make his own decisions? Does he have any personal agency when it comes to these things or anything bad? This is the kind of cope that people will throw out. Anything bad that he does or considers doing, it's always someone else who's pushing him to do that thing because he would never be the kind of person that would do that thing. It's just a really weird way to look at things, in my opinion. But it provides you the cover to be able to think that he would never do a bad thing and always support him no matter what. Okay, Candace, Charlie Kirk, TPUSA, Israel, Tucker, drama, all of that. Candace, whose name I always misspell. I don't know why. Just can't get it in my head. Oh, there's a second A in there. It just doesn't compute. So she released a screenshot of a chat last night. I believe this is last night, pretty sure, on her show. And as you guys know, some of the story around the Charlie Kirk assassination and some of the alternative theories out there are that it had something to do with him flipping on his support for Israel. And it did. He did seem to be voicing, not just in this chat, but voicing frustration, especially after their big event where they had Tucker there, they had Dave Smith there. A lot of people were very upset about that, and he had plenty of things to say about that afterwards. He apparently is in this chat as long as you believe this is a real chat, saying that he was done with his pro-Israel stuff. I'll let you listen to Candace explain this.
Take a look. So Charlie writes in this group chat, just lost another huge Jewish donor, $2 million a year because we won't cancel Tucker. I'm thinking of inviting Candace. Somebody writes, oh. Charlie writes, Jewish donors play into all of the stereotypes. I cannot and will not be bullied like this, leaving me no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause. Then somebody writes, a donor writes, please do not invite Candace. That might feel good short term, but it's not good long term, in my opinion. Like all groups, you're going to get a wide variety of opinions. That nasty free will thing that God bestowed on us makes life frustrating at times after the dust settles a bit, maybe. So again, this is 48 hours before Charlie Kirk was assassinated. He was very clear and he was very explicit, and he did not back down, not in that Hamptons meeting, which they're all lying about, nor in this text thread. I'm not going to reveal the names of the other 7. Actually, you know what? I disagree with myself 4 seconds ago. Let's just throw in Josh Hammer for funsies. He's on this chat, okay?
All right, so she does name drop Josh Hammer, that he's one of the people in this chat thread. Now, first things first, let me try and take this down a list. First off, you have to believe that this is a real chat thread. I always have issues with these, and it's not because I have a general skepticism towards Candace, which I do. I have skepticism towards basically anyone, but I do have a lot of skepticism towards Candace. It's not because of that, though. I've talked about this plenty of times. Charlie and I have talked about this plenty of times. Like showing a screenshot of a chat where it says Charlie Kirk is saying a thing, it could be true. Like that's a big thing to make up and put out there and say that these different people are in this chat and like that. So like it's a big thing to lie about and make up. But I have an initial skepticism towards a screenshot of a chat. I could take any text on my phone right now and I could change anyone's contact information to Donald Trump. And I can say, look, I was chatting with Don about this and that. And you see the jokes we're going back and forth on. And it was actually like a text with Charlie, but I just changed Charlie's name to Donald Trump on my phone. And now it says, look, Donald Trump just texted me about these things. And so it's very easy to fake a chat like this. Like you need to show the source. There needs to be a video, a screen recording of someone clicking on what says Charlie Kirk and going to his... I don't know what this chat is in. It doesn't look like a normal text thread, but it could be on a Droid. I don't know. It looks like an app of some kind. Going to his contact information and have someone verify, like, yeah, that is his number. This is his profile that he used on this messaging app, or that is his number. And so someone can verify that that's actually a screenshot of this chat. So without seeing that, first off, I'm initially skeptical seeing that because anyone could do that. I could do it right now with someone. And we could make it into a thing immediately. So you guys get that first off. I also just noticed that there's a way that you can read this, putting emphasis on different words in a different way. Like the thing you have to believe here is that he's saying, leaving me no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause. And that he is announcing to this group of, I believe she said 7 people, that he is out on the pro-Israel thing. Okay? Or he could be complaining still about these people who are trying to get him to cancel Tucker, trying to get him to change his tune on a couple things. He could say, leaving me no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause. Now, I said that differently. Not quite as differently as I wanted to, but he could just be continuing, like, they are leaving me no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause. You could read it differently. Leaving me no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause. Do you guys hear how those are 2 different things? I don't know. I hear those as 2 different things when I say them differently. Someone just said it's Signal, I think. Oh, is it Signal? Yeah, it could be. I don't know. Not sure what it is. So there's a different way you can read it for that statement to say 2 different things. if you didn't hear the difference, one of them is like kind of complaining, like if they don't stop, they're leaving me no choice but to do this. Or you're just saying that they've left me no choice and I'm doing this. Okay, that's another thing. She's also making the claim basically that this I'm leaving the pro-Israel cause statement happened just 48 hours before he was assassinated. And like, this is the big thing here. He told these people, and Josh Hammer was one of them. Josh Hammer, is super pro-Israel. I saw him in that debate with Dave Smith at the TPUSA event, actually. And so he, I don't know who else is in the thing. This is just for fun here. He contacts BB. He's like, oh, he's out. We tried, but Candace is going to be at the next event, actually. He's going to have Candace come talk. And they're like, oh, we can't have that. And so within 2 days, they put together like a patsy. There's a patsy, someone who's going to take the fall for this. They're going to set them up to go, think that they're going to go assassinate him, or set up like they're going to assassinate him, something like that. And then also have like his family turn him in. Which there's conflicting reports on that. They could have turned him in because they didn't want the cops to kill him or whatever when they came to get him, after they found out who he was. You got to set up that whole thing with a guy who already has like a motive himself to want to kill Charlie Kirk. But you got to set up this patsy thing. You got 2 days to do it, which I guess is why it was so sloppy. They only found out 2 days prior that he was leaving the pro-Israel cause. Now, I don't know why they didn't just wait a few more days and do it at a different event. Maybe it's because they had this patsy, ready to go with this event already. And so they set that up. They have someone else go into the crowd to kill him. And this whole conspiracy set in motion. Because of something he said 2 days prior. Like, no more attempts to try and fix it. Nothing like that. It's over. It's done with. Nail in the coffin. Sorry about the pun. That seems like a bit of a stretch to me. It really does seem like a bit of a stretch. And all, like someone who in the Clark just said, because $2 million a year, lost $2 million a year from a donor, from an organization that I think took in something like $90 million. So $2 million, that's a good chunk, but maybe get it elsewhere. All because he won't cancel Tucker. Now, I'm assuming that has to do with an upcoming event. And he says, I'm thinking of inviting Candace. Now, Tucker was on the event and then you went to cancel him. What does everyone think would happen to Tucker's notoriety, to Tucker's power in this movement after getting canceled from a TPUSA event because he said too many things critical of Israel at a prior event? What everyone should know by now is that if you were actually to get him to cancel Tucker, that he would actually just get bigger afterwards. That's what already happened to Tucker after he got fired. He's bigger now than he's ever been. And generally people, when you go after them, you take them away from events, people are like, that's weird. Why did you do that? And then they go and they seek out the things that person is saying, and it has this big Streisand effect on whatever the things are that the guy's saying. Like, it's generally not a good strategy to try and cancel people. It's definitely not a good strategy to decide that you would rather murder someone because you don't want to give them $2 million and they're going to leave the pro-Israel cause. It seems like it would be easier just to leave them alone and give them the $2 million and allow them to have the person speak than going through this big conspiracy of murdering them in broad daylight in front of the entire world to see, where every spotlight is going to be shined on every minor detail of this event. First off, if it's a big conspiracy, I don't know why you don't just do it like at night when he's getting out of the car and he's going into his house. Just have like someone go by and do it then. Like, don't do it when there's a bunch of cameras around. There's tons of witnesses. There's surveillance footage all over the place, all kinds of stuff like that. Like, why do that? There's one reason you would do that, and that's to turn it into a cause, to make him into a martyr, and then you would have your guy, BB, go around on every single news station for several hours a day talking about how big of a fan Charlie Kirk was to Israel, and that's why BB did such a terrible disservice and helped create so many of these theories that Israel was involved. I get it. That was some odd behavior. And that's why I can't entirely rule out this entire thing, because I don't have all the evidence. That's fine. I'm not saying that absolutely they had nothing to do with this. It had nothing to do with him potentially flipping on his support for Israel. What I'm saying is we're not there yet. And the there that we're going towards right now, that Candace and Ian Carroll and some of these people that seem to try to arrive at, is to finally prove to everyone that Israel had a clear motive to do it. No one has talked about actual evidence of them committing the crime. Here was the directive. Here was the order. Here was this person's tie to Israel, and it looks like they're actually the person that pulled the trigger. None of that. They're all working overtime just to make the case to everyone that Israel had a motive to want Charlie Kirk dead. But then once they prove the motive to everyone, what are you left with after that? You're left with Israel having a motive. You're left with Qatar having a motive. Iran having a motive. Tyler Robinson having a motive. Tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of other leftists having a motive. You're left with, let's see, he was pushing for the Epstein files release to everyone. So you're left with everyone on that list having a motive. The U.S. government then having a motive. And so you're left with all of these people having a motive to want Charlie Kirk dead. You can make the case for any of them to have a motive to want him dead. And so when you just settle on, I proved Israel had a motive, therefore is probably Israel that did it. That's probably who did it. I despise what Israel has done with our foreign policy and using our money and what they have done in Gaza as much as the next guy. Absolutely despise it. They should be absolutely cut off from everything. We should never give them another dollar. We should never help defend them. Bibi should be thrown out of office. All of these things. I despise it all as much as the next guy. But I don't feel that clear bias towards 100,000 people had a motive, including Israel, therefore it was them. I don't have that clear bias against them. I see them as as I see our government, or as I see plenty of other people who want to exert authoritarian power over other people. And so when I see people just always having this clear bias, it just bothers me. And people should always approach things, and I'm sure you do. I know people that are listening right now listen to Candace and love Candace, and I totally get that. She's very entertaining to listen to. Just always be skeptical. Please don't lose your skepticism. There is always a reason that she could have this bias and be pushing towards this and be ignoring everything else. Clearly, there's always a motivation. Look at the amount of plays and the amount of money coming in from that. It's very lucrative. But I mean, she's a good person. She's not driven by that money, whatever. Just please keep your skepticism when it comes to all of this stuff. Out of all the stuff I've heard so far, the only evidence that we have, and I'll admit, it has been, there has been some weird stuff with the investigation, and we've talked about that. But the only evidence we have of anyone doing anything is of Tyler Robinson doing it. I'm skeptical of the information that has come out from the government, that text chain between him and his whatever. It's kind of weird. It's definitely pretty weird. But that's the only place that we have any evidence of someone actually doing something, or someone saying that they want to do something. Someone's, and so why not lean towards that just a little bit? It could actually be the most plausible explanation. That's all I'm saying. Okay, I think I'm going to end it there. I've got, I've got this ICE thing to talk about, a crazy situation, I guess, over the weekend. It was pretty weird. In Chicago, ICE essentially calling for help, saying their vehicle was surrounded. I guess they'd been run off the road, and the police chief decided to deny them any help. I'm like, you're going to complain about the National Guard coming in when you won't at least provide security? For agree or disagree, like ICE is there carrying out the law, the lawful orders, and you're just saying that they could be being attacked and you're going to deny them any security by people who are actually breaking the law and attacking them? That's pretty crazy, right? I'll just play that. We'll maybe talk about it tomorrow, but I don't know if you guys saw it. Kind of, in my opinion, flew under the radar and is a way bigger deal because as we're talking about this National Guard going in, and I've got conflicting ideas on all of that stuff. Don't like seeing it really at all. But at the same time, I'm like, ICE is going in to perform their specific task. And I do agree with deporting some people. Not everyone, really. But I do agree with deporting some people. And they don't really come there with like their own security. They're there to go, they got like here, this guy's probably here. We're going to arrest this guy. But when they get surrounded by people, you're supposed to have local police, you would think, would come in and provide a little bit of security for them while they're doing that, especially if local people are in fact breaking laws and assaulting the officers and doing stuff like that. But when the local police like flat out deny that to them, there's your perfect case for like, well, we need extra security here. Your local police literally will not assist us. Even if we call you and we say we are in danger right now, there are people surrounding our car and we're getting ambushed, and you deny them a response, there's your perfect response. Like, yeah, okay, so we're going to bring in the National Guard to help provide us security while we're conducting our operations. So it should be a little bit more of a story right now, I think, but here's the recording of the call. It's pretty crazy.
All right, at 999, just to confirm, 39th Police in Kedzie, they were saying that they were being surrounded by that large crowd, and they were requesting the police were not sending. I'm waving off all the cars heading to 39th Police in Kedzie.
Again, those are the orders we're being given.
Okay, 10-4. And again, for all the units that we called to go over that way, 39th Police in Kedzie, if you could just hold off 911, 913, 923, 924, 933, 934. Just disregard that. 39th Police in Kedzie.
So even me, a guy who super does not like seeing troops in cities, does not like seeing the National Guard sent in when state and local officials are not asking for it and don't want it. When you get to a situation like that, and I saw a little video, I actually don't have it pull up. I think I saw the video of this actually happening, and they were ran off the road, and they were, protesters and people starting to surround them and all that. You're sort of asking for it at that time. That's all I'm saying. Like the local police, the police chief needs to be fired, or commissioner, or whatever it is they call it in that place, needs to be fired. If there are people breaking the law and attacking other people, you should go assist in that scenario. You should not just deny them any assistance. I heard that there's a lot of police officers that are very upset about this, that they were given orders to stand down, that they were waved off of their response. They should go on strike or whatever, use that nice public union to your advantage. They should go on strike or something if they're going to be held off. So that's what I would say. I did see the Fraternal Order of Police did put out a statement. I did have that pulled up also, but I do need to get going. Let's see, 45 minutes is pretty good. We'll talk a little bit more about this situation and the National Guard stuff tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I appreciate you putting up with just having one person here. It's not as fun, I know, but it's what we got for this week. I'll try to be back next week. Go tell a friend, a family member that they need to listen to the Good Morning Liberty every single day of the week when they want to. Leave a rating and review on your favorite podcast app. Go to GodHatesFeds.com and get a God Hates Feds t-shirt. Go to joingml.com to join the Fed Haters Club. And if you do every single one of those things, I'll be right back here again tomorrow. Until then, have a good day and a good morning, Liberty.